Sometimes you have the most beautiful design that you don't want to get ruined by supports. There's a few ways to do this, even in Sprintray software. Here I'm in Qi2 Pro, and the first thing I'm going to tell you with full coverage crowns, you could easily nest them with the buckle surface down, typically about a 110-degree angle to the build plate, where you have the occlusal surface just ever so slightly angled towards the build plate. And go ahead and hit the edit tool and delete the supports that are on the inclined planes of the transverse ridge of those cusps there, and just remove them. You'll see there are going to be a plethora of tiny little supports on the buckle. As I'm showing you here, I'm even adding more. And then I'm going to go ahead and delete these extraneous support tips on those transverse ridges. We don't actually need them at all. If you understand peel forces and overhangs and things like that, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Now, the support tips, one reason why I'm using Qi2 here is because you're able to actually fine tune the exact micron diameter of the tip and tip penetration. So here what I'm doing is I have a 0.25 millimeter or 250 micron tip diameter and a 300 micron tip penetration. And so that means is they're going to peel off like Velcro. And so here I'm going to just delete these extraneous tips and get those out of my way. Qi2 Pro is like $160 a year. It is one of the better slicers out there. And the reason why it's so good, and even the basic Qi2 free, you do pretty much all the same things. One of the reasons why I like it is because you could export the actual STL file with the supports on it. So here I'm going to export the whole thing in its entirety with the little raft, with the little supports, exactly the way I designed them with the 0.25 millimeter tips. And I'm going to just go ahead and open Rayware dashboard here. There we go. I'm going to type in right into my dashboard, auto log in here. I'm going to go ahead and hit add print. And you could do this with the Midas or with the Sprintray. I don't think Sprintray wants you guys to do this, probably like frown upon it, but sometimes you just need a little bit beyond the basic Sprintray supports. The reason why Sprintray does that, by the way, is so that you just get successful prints, you don't get failed prints, they don't get customer support calls and all that. So here what I did is I called it veneers, I turned off auto orientation, and I turned off repair mesh. And that's the way it comes in. I'm going to hit select base and snap it down to the platform like that, and that's all there is to it. Go ahead and send it to the printer. This is how it printed beautifully. Those 0.25 millimeter tips, those 250 microns just peel off. Even though there's a bunch of them, they just kind of peel off like Velcro. And what you're left with are like the world's tiniest little goosebumps. And you hit it with this Comet felt pad. If you've been to Mod, you guys have this. In about 3 seconds, they're all going to be gone, and there will be absolutely zero remnant of them remaining. In addition to that, guys, there's going to be no issues with your occlusion. It's going to be just perfectly beautiful. Here I am just glazing it really quick. I'm applying the new Sprintray glaze, and I'm going to put some Empress Direct colors in there. Here we have some ochre color that I'm putting in the grooves, combined with a little bit of white on the transverse ridges and a little bit of brown. Here's just a straight brown. Sometimes I like to do that just to add a little bit more depth, and depending on what's around in the natural dentition, and white on the transverse ridges, and that's about it, guys. So we're going to go ahead and hit it with the light and then put it in the nano cure, and there is really nothing to it. This is really fun to do, and your assistant should be doing this for you. This is what the final look was after it's been cured. Now, even if you did have to put the supports on the occlusion for whatever reason, at the 0.25, they just come off, and there's almost no remnant of them. There's tiny little micro bumps. But the cool thing about it with the 300 micron tip penetration is you hit it with this just for like 3 seconds, and they're going to be all gone, and you won't even be able to detect them anymore. There's no interference with your occlusion or your grooves or anything like that. So this is just a little hack. I'm sure Sprintray is not going to like this because you're outside of their ecosystem, but sometimes you need to do it.